A very good morning and good evening, everyone. Welcome back. So yesterday we were trying to talk about the introduction, by the way. So we talked about the Amazon Web Services, how to create a instance in AWS. And after that, we talked about how do we authenticate into the Linux server, and then how do we start executing the commands, right? So we had some discussion like, so why to use username, password, and things like that. Okay, so yeah, whatever it is, however the method you use, so however the method you use, it is end of the day, the terminal once you get it, it is going to be same. Okay, so that is how you're going to um, end up with, right? So now let's quickly, yesterday we terminated the systems and I will go and try to create the instance again. Just let me that URL. Yeah, not this. One minute. Yeah. So let me log in the meantime. All right. Now I already told that there is a challenge in um, so finding the AMI that I offer. I already shared the link. So here is the link which I asked you to bookmark. So for some days you'll use it, and after at a period of time, after a certain period of time, we need to create our own images. So after that, you will create your own image in your account as a part of practice, and you will be using that particular one. But until then, just use one to create instance. So choose the image. Image is like, for new people, image, maybe this question doesn't came by the way. Image is nothing but, a something like if you want to install a physical machine, what do? You will go and put some pen drive or CD, DVD. CD, DVDs are not anymore. You probably keep a pen drive and boot your machine and install the operating system from the ISO, which is offered by the operating system vendor. Okay. Now, once you install everything, you pack that. Okay, it is a virtual machine world, right? You pack it and unpack it. There's a concept available. Okay, so in the virtual machine world, so what we have done is we packed this image, and whenever we want it, we'll just simply use this as a base template, and we're going to launch that server. Now here in the Amazon world, we call it as AMI. And if you are using your Azure cloud, something like that, so there you will call it as a image gallery. Okay, so there you call it as an image gallery. Or if you are using something like on-premise systems, like you are having your own data center in your company, so probably if you are using VMware, then you will call it as a content library. Okay, so this is what is we are having, right? So like this, different words will be there, but in Amazon world, it is called as AMI. Amazon Machine Image is what they will call. Okay, so here AMI. So launch this particular instance from this AMI. And like I mentioned, to change anything, so you simply go ahead and choose like, I don't want any key pair, launch the instance. Okay, so just give it a minute and it will come. And after that, so using your clients, by the way, you will be connecting to that particular instance. So in my case, it's going to be a terminal that I'll use. So this one, login username is ec2-user. Okay, the machine started responding. Connection refused is okay. We just need to give it a minute, like I told you. Just a minute. I think mostly now it is up. Yeah. All right, I'm in the system. The prompt itself will tell you certain things is what we discussed yesterday, which is ec2-user is a username, @ system name, and your directory. So these are the information that you generally have from the terminal. And this is customizable, like I mentioned yesterday. Okay. Now let's get on to the actual things. We wanted to start understanding the commands, learn the commands, and the commands I already mentioned. So every command is going to have a options, by the way. Options determine the behavior of your command. Okay. So it depends upon your requirement. You will offer certain option to that particular command. And also the commands can be combined, by the way, using a semicolon in between. So two commands you can execute. There are also, like, so double ampersand symbol, double pipe symbol will be there. So to determine certain logics on the command's execution, okay, which we'll anyhow see it a little bit in the third week of the session when we actually try to do some automation. Okay, start automation. So that time you will need these particular concepts, you'll understand. There's also fourth option is also there, which is a single pipe symbol is also there. That is, I mean, maybe tomorrow it might come into the roadmap. We will see that. Okay, now the next is um, the basic commands that we wanted to start. Even going directly starting with the basics, by the way, I would like to start with the help you understanding. See how, if you need to visualize your operating system, how do you visualize it? Okay, in Windows, how can I visualize my file system? So probably I will open my computer, right? You have C drive, D drive, right? And operating system, if I need to visualize, so it all starts from, okay, so Windows, okay, so C drive. Now, when you go inside Windows C drive, okay, there are quite many amount of files and folders generally, like you will see different things. Okay, program files, maybe this font is not that much clear to you, but still I'm reading it out. So there are program files are there, program files x86 are there, and some users and users will be there, C drive users. Okay, like that, C drive Windows is there, which is very important for Windows operating system. There are different directories which are there, which will be there in Windows when you actually install an operating system. So none of these directories that you are aware of, right? So probably you use in your home directory something, or you maybe use desktop. Okay, desktop is also part of your home directory only. So you create some files and blah blah blah, whatever you do, downloads and all those particular things. It's bounds to your home directory, right? So everything comes to your home directory, translates to your desktop files, download files, everything will translates to your home directory. Okay. So now let's say if I open some home directory, um, I don't know how the default. At least I'm hoping everyone knows this. So there is nothing much to explain. So you will get some folders like downloads. I don't know. Here this one. So you'll get downloads and you get desktop. All the files you get it. So this is actually in this PC, C drive, users, and the username, right? And everything you're having. So this is a Windows to visualize, by the way. The same way, and all your files is going to your home directory, right? Now you open your command prompt in Windows also, like Windows command prompt. If you open, so by default it will start in your home directory. Okay, yesterday I already shown this. So when I open any command prompt, it gives C drive users and my username, right? It's the place where we start. Windows also like more or less behaving the same manner. Now coming to the Linux. Linux also, you have the same thing, by the way. Now you open C drive Windows, okay, you'll have hell lot of files that you might not be aware of them, right? What are all there? So there are many. Okay, so you can go to C drive Windows folder, you will see many files, by the way, so which we are not aware. So those are quite belong to the operating system. Maybe some, maybe here and there you may use some, like system32, some files. I don't know. I just know only that folder only, not beyond that. So C drive Windows system32, you have some core files which is available there. Okay, so generally, and such files we will be generally aware of. But beyond that, I think, I mean, maybe a couple of files whoever has some understanding on the Windows for different purposes. But I don't think so you have anything needed beyond there, right? Linux also, it is the same thing. It has a lot of things from the OS perspective. We don't need to know everything, okay? And that's where I would suggest, okay, to know what you need to know, right? So yesterday we had a discussion on that as well. Now, when you actually log into your Linux box, you will also take into your home directory. You log in as a EC2 user, you have been taken to a home directory. So this symbol is representing a home directory. That symbol represents a home directory. That is your home directory. Okay. So now what is our home directory is /home/EC2 user. So that means, so in Windows, you're having a C drive and then the folder EC2 user. So the same way here, you're going to have a forward slash. Windows is actually working on the backward slash. Now, Windows is an operating system that came after Unix operating system. Linux is actually completely inspired from Unix, but Windows has, okay, also Windows is a next operating system. Maybe this is the reason I heard, but not anywhere documented. So Windows, Linux went with forward slash. Okay, so Linux and Unix went with forward slash, whereas Windows went with backward slash. It's the only reason that I mean, I've been told or somewhere, by the way. But it was, at least I not read any document or any justification for that. But Windows is a backward slash. So Linux is a forward slash. Now here C drive users HANA. That means each and every slash is determining one part, right? Now here also it is the slash is going to represent the one part, by the way, one piece. Sorry. So here, document. Yeah. Now this is one piece. Okay. This is another piece, home slash, and this is another piece. In fact, actually, so whenever it is ending with slash, it is one piece. So that means this is empty with one space, and home slash is one thing, and EC2 user is another thing. Okay, this will be the your default directory of your Linux. But also, you're not done. You have a bit more things. In Linux, the directory structure starts with slash, whereas in Windows it starts with C drive. Now D drive is all additional things. How they map, I don't know behind the scene. But so Windows, if I need to talk about, it starts from C drive at the core, by the way. So the OS perspective, and other directories inside that will be there. So under slash, there will be many directories for different purpose it is doing. So this OS is about having multiple directories to perform some things. So those you'll find out under slash. Under that, home is one folder, okay, where you are going to have user home directories. Okay. Now there are a couple of things. Now Linux file names and folders are case sensitive. That means, okay, capital F file.txt and small f file.txt, both are not same in Linux, but in Windows it is same. You try to create a capital file.txt, you can't create another file with small f file.txt. Okay, I'm not sure how many of you are aware. Windows is case insensitive file system, so where it does not allow you to create, okay, so these two files, but Linux allows you to do that. So both are not same. So just comparing from the Windows perspective. And also in Linux, whenever you are creating some files and folders, always avoid the spaces. Always avoid the spaces. And there is a slight terminology difference between Linux and Windows. Here we call it as a directory. Windows, you call it as a folder. Okay. So that's where I'll just write the same name and nomenclature. Avoid spaces in file and directory names when you're actually creating it. Don't go with that. Okay. And the last but not least, so Windows have hidden files. I'm not sure how many of you are aware. So Windows hidden files. So you can go to the Windows somewhere, some settings. You can view the hidden files by the way, right? So you can see this option will be there. So hide protected operating system files. And there is a hidden files and folders, show hidden files and folders. You're showing. Okay. In Windows, you have to go to somewhere and choose this option to see the hidden file. Whereas in Linux, it is going to be a very simple way. If any file is starting with a dot, any file or folder, okay, hidden files are directories that starts with dot character. It is a hidden file. If it is a file, if it is a directory, it is a directory, hidden directory. Okay. So this is a quite just a basic introduction to your file structure. Okay. So a couple of points for you to remember here. The the root of the file system. So that root means it's just the nomenclature of a very Englishish. The tree actually starts from the root. Okay, the whole structure of the tree, like so the main branch and sub branches, everything. Okay, the core of the tree starts from slash, right? So that is called as a root. And here also the Linux or Unix, it again inspired from Unix. In this world, you call it as slash because they just inspired the same word. Here also we call it as a root. Root directory. Root directory means that is the place the operating system is starting. The root directory is called as forward slash. And whenever you log in, you're going to be in your home directory. Okay. And in Linux, when you're actually dealing, so Linux is a case sensitive file system. So and also avoid spaces when you're actually trying to do that. It still allows, but avoid it. Okay, so for good practice. And hidden files and directories also start with a dot character. So with this particular knowledge, so now let's get on to the actual commands. The first command we're going to talk about here is an ls command. The first command I want you to start looking when you're in an operating system. It is ls command. What is ls command? It will just show you the list of files in the current directory. When you want to see the list of files in a folder, maybe you go there, double click, and you see the list of files, right? But whereas in the command line of Windows, you may use something like dir or something like that. It will show you the list of files. Okay, so here in the command line, so you're seeing the list of files. This is because of the dir command, by the way. Okay. So you can see the same list of files when you type dir. Yeah, there is not this one. So you can see this dir command executed. So it is showing you all the list of files which is available there. The same Linux also, the command prompt, you just need to, it will not show the list of files when you go into your directory automatically. So you need to execute a command to see the list of files. I'm going to execute a command, ls command. So it is showing empty. So that means what is my assumption? There are no files. ls command is about to see the list of files. And if it is given an empty result, that means our assumption is it's just an empty folder. That's it. I don't have any files in there. Very simple, right? So ls is the command. Okay. So the next is um, the above command shows only the visible files, but you will not get the invisible files, which is like hidden files. Now to show the hidden files, you have to ask ls command with an option to change its behavior by using capital A. So there is, sorry, hyphen capital A. So hyphen capital A now started showing more some output, by the way. Now, if you see in the previous step we talked about already, so the hidden files and directories are going to start with a dot character. Now you can see every file name here is a starting with a dot character. So that means these are all hidden files and directories that we have. Okay, so this is where I have it. Okay. Now, hidden files are nothing but starts with dot character, right? Now, to visualize more information, like, you are having even in Windows also, like even in in Windows, like let's say File Explorer, Windows File Explorer, and then it is a list view you can give, list view. So you can have a list view. So which if you make the view like this, it will show you a little bit size, by the way, the size of the file, when it was modified, some type, something it is showing. Or else you can also have a icon view also like this. This is the view of the icon view. So now it's up to you. You're changing the view, right? So now ls command also can help you in having a view of a little bit more information about these particular files by using an option ls-l. Okay, anyhow, there are no files, you are going to get it. So use capital A so that you'll get a hidden files and their full information. So you're getting some information here. Okay, now these informations, you will see what is these and all in the upcoming sessions while we cross some topics, by the way. But for now, okay, so a couple of things that we will understand here. The first character determines the type of the file. First command determines the type of the file. Okay. Now there are 7 types of files. Okay, so I want you to um, types of files. I want you to start maintaining some backlog of your learning. Okay, so that means what you need to learn. Okay, suddenly, everything you can't learn every day. So just keep in mind. So you need to have some sort of a maintenance of your backlog. How do you maintain? You maintain a Word document or you maintain something blah blah blah. It's all your choice. I don't mind. But you start maintaining some sort of a some sort of a uh, backlog, by the way. Okay, so that is what I would suggest. Now, one of the backlog that I can suggest here is whenever you have some time, okay, read about what all this, so 7 files that we have. 7 types of files, Linux. In the Linux, there are 7 types of files. Okay, what are those 7 types of files? Now, whenever you have some time, so you probably read about it, by the way. So what are those? Why why there are 7 types and things like that. Okay, in the very beginning, you may not really understand, but just so wait for some time. You get comfortable on the Linux, and one day you read about it. Okay, so I will still mention here somewhere. Just maintain the backlog, which is 7 types of files. Okay, after some time, okay, these are very internals, by the way. So one day you'll understand, oh, okay, so this is that, this, that, and all. So you will be able to relate the things. Okay, so just try to maintain this. But for now, I'll go back here. So there are 2 types which is essentially needed for us. And even in Windows also, you may be having others. Whereas you always use 2 things. One is file and another is folder. Here also it is the same thing. So the other 5 types are core to the operating system. Okay. Now here also, if it is showing hyphen, the first character is very important. If it is showing hyphen, it is okay. It is hyphen. If it is a file, it shows hyphen. If it is a directory, it will show D. By the way, it will show D. Okay. So generally, like ls command is enabled with some colors. Okay, from the color also you will be able to understand whether that is a file or directory. But there are chances that the colors can be disabled. Now you see this, there is no color coming for .ssh. Now you really can't determine whether that is a file or a directory. Okay, so that's where I think ls-l is the easiest way to determine. So there's also another options to determine. I think capital F, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, so capital F tells it's ending with /. This is a directory, so no color. Okay, or else generally the blue color is determined for the colors. But don't rely too much on the color, because the colors can be manipulatable either by your clients or by the server also. Don't completely go by color. No one touches those colors. Okay, so but still, you don't really completely as a source, color as a source of truth. You just give ls-l option and you see D character in the starting, it's a directory. Hyphen is a file, by the way. Okay, these are the 2 things that you have. And last one is a file name. And just before to that, it tells that, what is the last modified file timestamp? When is the last this file has been modified? okay, and the size of it. So before to this, that left over with these options to be discussed later. These we will discuss later. What are those? But first character telling the type of file and the size of the file in bytes. And here it is telling the last modified file stamp, okay, and the file name. And there is one confusion that usually this ls command is actually going to make you, which is this total 16. But you may think like, there are no 16 files here. Why are you using 16, or why it is showing 16? You completely discard this information because this is a hardware information. It is telling that this folder in the hard disk, it is using either it called as 16 blocks, I think. So, you have blocks and sectors in hard disk, blocks and sectors in hard disk. So when you do a file system of an operating system, okay, so what it will do is it will create a layout, all right? So then there are certain things like, so a block and a sector is there. I think if I'm not wrong, if it is a sectors, how many sectors it actually consumed is the one it will show the information. Okay, so that's where that doesn't give much value. Okay, you can quietly ignore this one. Okay, so these commands are having 40-50 years history. Okay, those were created for some other purpose. Okay, so maybe that time along with the file, the disk sectors is also very important. That maybe that time you hardly have 1 MB 2 MB hard disks. Okay, so that information may be important. So that's the era that those were created. Okay, so but anyhow, now it is not going to add any value to that. Ignore that information, and this is the one. So just to conclude, ls command is the one which is going to give you the list of files in the folder you're currently in. Okay, and it is going to show you the normal files as well as hidden files as well, with some options. And the two options I want you to must and should have to understand here is ls-capital A and capital L. That will show you a little bit length the data. Okay, a little bit more information about that file. Right? Any questions on this? If any questions, it is the same thing. You will be raising the hand.
Hi. So I know you mentioned the hyphen is actually file the first character. There are like when we do LSL here, there are different letters, alphabet showing up, right? Um, is there any number? Because somewhere in my project, I remember there were some numbers where we can give the numbers. Uh, will this be taken care? You will let us know those steps later, or is it in the syllabus?
No, I did not got your question in the first. What do you want?
Okay, so for example, if the folder having hyphen RW hyphen RW dash dash R dash dash, right?
Those
So,
we'll talk later, as mentioned.
okay, it will be talked later. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
By end of Linux commands, you will know even this RWW, this one number, and these things also you'll come to know what are those. But as of now, okay, I don't see any hands. Moving on. So the next thing is, so in Windows, generally, you are in which folder, you will come to know automatically, okay, because on the folder explorer on the top, it will show you. But Linux also, if you want to know which directory you are in, pwd. So this bash, sorry, don't worry about the word. So this Linux default something, it will show you always this tilde symbol that you represent the home directory. Okay. But as I mentioned, so this is prompt is customized to have, let's say, /var/log. If I go to some directory, I'll show which path you are in. So that means essentially you don't need to run a command pwd. Pwd is a command that will show you in which directory you are in. Okay. So it doesn't really, okay, um, in our terminal, okay, it doesn't need to be every time to go and execute a command, pwd. I'm helping you to here because every time executing the pwd is unnecessary. And also, like, so sometimes we just get into an assumption, okay, I'm in this directory only, I'll just go and you know do something, okay, changes, modifications, deletions. It's unnecessarily headache. Okay, so this prompt gives me a clear consciousness that where I'm in which location I'm in. Okay, which avoids pwd in our case most of the time, but pwd is also a very important command. And so which will tell you in which directory you are in. Okay, so now just forget about that. So I am in my home directory, so it is telling /home/ec2-user. Now if I want to switch from one directory to another directory in Windows, you double click a folder, you get onto some directory, right? But whereas in Linux, okay, so you're going to use a command, a cd command, that will going to take you to the a particular location. Now cd change directory. Okay, so that's where cd/var/log. Okay, one directory, what that directory doesn't matter. So that exists. I just executing that. If you don't know anything about it, you go to the root of the file system, which is slash. Okay, cd/enter. Now, how do you see the list of files? You know already the command ls. Now the blue color tells it's a directory, right? If it is a directory, you can switch into that directory. Now cd, like let's say some directory, which is, let's say, var only. Okay, I went into the directory. Now I don't know what is inside. So what do you do? Again, ls, you will see them. Okay, so you can go into a particular directory. Log is there. I'm going inside there. So I don't know what is inside there. Again, I do ls. Okay, so I can have something. So there is something called as Amazon. I'll go inside Amazon. Okay, I don't have permissions anymore. Okay, so triple s t. Okay, it's again, I'm getting permission denied, so we can't get into the system files. Okay, which is fine. It's okay. So you're trying to navigate to a particular location. Okay, so this is how you can start giving the things. So now I know this is a very common directory, and I always go for, I know that full path. What you can do is you can give log directory. Sorry. So I'll give varlog completely, by the way, and enter. Okay, varlog completely you can give. All right. So this is where, okay, you can switch from one directory to another directory. Now, common options here is when you give simply cd enter, wherever you are in, did you observe here? I went to a cd varlog directory. Okay, I am in the here. I simply give cd enter, then where it brought me, automatically it brought me to my home directory. If you give cd enter, irrespective of wherever you are in the system, doesn't matter. It will simply take you to your home directory, resets to your home directory. Okay, so just a cd enter, that's it. And while we use cd, I also, so think this command is also a very important, useful option. So cd dot dot. Now cd, I'm in this varlog location. I wanted to go to var/var. By the way, I can give dot dot. Dot dot will take you to the parent directory. Dot dot will take you to parent, or it represents parent. By the way, dot dot represents parent. Dot represents current directory. Okay, in this command line, okay, terminal, dot dot means your parent directory. Dot means current directory. Okay, this is a terminology. All right. So that means cd dot dot means who is my parent directory? /var. So where I'll be going? /var. So to /var, who is my parent? /. So cd dot dot, I'll go to /. Okay. So this is where, okay, we'll be using the options of cd and pw, and we'll be navigating the directories, by the way. All right. Any questions? Any questions?
Hi, Raghu. For the CD, do we have any space or just we need to type CD as we are giving space for CD space dot dot?
Yeah, cd is the command, and after that you have to give space. Your input need to be given space.
No, not for changing the directory, for moving the directory to the root directory.
Yeah, that
Uh,
also you need to.
this is also like a space, and the last one also we'll give space.
Sorry to interrupt. You're asking dot space dot or cd space dot dot. Which is the space you're
No,
talking?
no, not that one. I'm talking about this third one, third command in
This
this.
one.
Yeah, that's one. Yeah.
Just a cd enter. You give space or don't give space.
Okay.
There is no value to that.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on. And the next is how do you create some files and directories? So okay, so I need to create some files in the file system. This is just the beginning of our introduction while you're doing it, by the way. And whether you really create a directory manually or not is a question. Like later we all get into the automation mode. Okay, so where the things are going to happen a bit differently. Okay, but so that's fine. But still, as an basic user, let's go through these options like how to create a directory, how to create a file and things like that. There are many ways to do the job, by the way, to create a file. And one of the basic command that you have is a touch command that is going to help you in creating a file. Okay, so touch sample.txt. Okay, so here, so I'll go to my home directory. So touch sample.txt, enter. So then ls, a file is created, and ls-l I'll give the file is created, and it is a 0 size file. Since it is a 0, it didn't occupy any sectors or something. So here also it is showing 0 if you see, right? So yeah, these files, it is showing a 0 file. Is an empty file. In Windows also, I think right click new text document, you'll get an empty file only, 0 size file, no difference. Okay, but here you're executing a command, touch command to create a file. And touch can also create multiple files also at the same time. So you can copy this one. Now you can, that's okay. So here you can give nodes.txt and lambda.py. So we are going to get 3 files. Well, okay. So you can create multiple files also with the touch command, just as an example. You may not do it regularly, but still, just as an option wise, it's going to create an empty file. Now, there is an important thing that we wanted to talk about here, that Linux does not use file extensions to determine the file type. So the 7 types of files which we talked about is completely different. Okay. And apart from that, if the file is hyphen, the ls command is showing hyphen, right? It is a file. Now, at the end of the file, okay, the extensions doesn't matter. Linux don't have extensions. Linux don't deal with the extensions, but you are still go ahead and creating the extensions because for you it is a comfort as a user. You've been using extensions, and also I'll come to know, okay, .py means okay, this is a Python code. .txt, okay, this is it. Text document. I mean, you get a clarity. Okay, for that reason only you will do that. But otherwise, for the operating system, it doesn't matter which one you use for the file system. But whereas Windows is not like that. Windows is okay. This is a very fundamental reason. Okay, this is the only reason that Linux becomes secure, Windows become unsecure, unstable because of this approach only, especially the file extensions approach. Okay, so how it becomes file a problem, by the way. So let's say for an example, you downloaded one PDF file. You may be thinking that is a .pdf. So you just double clicked it. Double clicked when you actually try to do. So what it will do is it can be a malicious program. Then you simply double click it. You are actually giving a permission to get onto the system. Okay, load into the system, load into the memory. Okay. Now what is happening? So the malicious, the spyware or whatever it is, get into your system. So that's where is the Windows is always have risks of this cyber attacks. I mean, malicious things. All these particular things comes and happen, especially on Windows more than Linux. It doesn't mean that Linux don't have that, but Linux at a core basically avoids that problem. And yeah, so that's how it is going to be, by the way. Now, whereas in Windows, it is a whereas in Linux, it's a completely different approach. What is our different approach here is, it is going to be, you take a, if I want to open a file, okay, so then I'll use a program and then I'll try to open a file. If I use a program and open the file, even in Windows also, if it is a PDF file, you open a PDF editor or PDF reader, and then you go there and click on open, and you open that file. That time what it can tell, hey boss, it is not a PDF file. The file is corrupted. Something it will tell. It will not really load into the memory. Before loading itself, the reader doesn't understood that is a PDF file, and you're safe. Okay. But Linux always goes in that mode only. You have to give the file name, program and the file name. Okay. So where you will avoid the things getting onto the system. All right. So this is where generally Linux doesn't have the extensions to the file systems, by the way. Extensions to the files. Okay. So, but still we'll go and create the files. There is no harm. Okay. Because it's only like for us to understand that is so and so file. That is what we're going to do. All right. So that's about creation of the files. And let's quickly take the creation of directories and take question. So how do you create directories? Then you're going to create a directory by using mkdir. The command we're going to use is mkdir. By using mkdir, you can create a directory. In Windows, it's called as folder. In Linux, it's called as directory. And Linux is case sensitive. Directory names demo and capital demo are different. File names also, it is the same thing. So like I already told you, right? So touch lambda.py, it's already there, right? lambda.py. So Linux allows this. You can see this. Windows is not going to allow. You can give a try later. Okay, you try to create a text file, something with the capital letters, it won't allow you. All right. So that is what it is. And creation of a directory, mkdir demo and ls-l. So you can see this directory. This is telling this is D, and you'll see this as a demo directory. All right. So that's how you create a folders and directories. Clear? Any questions? Any questions on touch and mkdir commands? Okay, moving on. So the next is how to remove the files and directories. Okay, just now we created it. Now the next is how do you remove them? So to remove, by the way, there's a unit command, by the way, so which is rm command will do that. Rm command lambda.py, and if I hit enter, so that file is gone. Okay, that file is gone. Right? ls-l lambda, only this much is there. Sometimes you're going to get a option which is a forceful option. So that means like whenever you're trying to remove a file, let's say rm, I'm actually already simulating a scenario. So rm, if I try to remove a file, it will generally ask me, hey, this is a file you want to remove or not. In certain cases, it will come. Okay, I did some work in the background. Don't worry about it. But still, you get a scenario. I'm pressing yes or no. No, I'm giving so that I'm not removing the file. Same like Windows, you try to delete a file, it will ask for yes or no, right? So in certain cases, it will ask for um, while removing the file, yes or no is being prompted. To avoid that prompt, it is asking for yes or no. To avoid that prompt, so what you have is rm-f option is there. So while you know that you're removing the file and you want to avoid the prompt, while you wanted to avoid that particular prompt, so then you will go for rm-f option. So now I go for rm-f lambda.py. Previously, I used just rm. It is asking me to remove yes or no. rm-f, it is gone. I mean, it's not prompting anything, and the file is also gone. Okay, so this is how you will remove your files, by the way. Now, how do you remove your directories? Okay, to remove the directories, you just need to use the same command, but use rm-r option. Now, let's say rm demo, if I give, it will tell that, hey, it's a directory. But if I want to remove it, -r I'll do, and that demo directory is gone. Okay, sometimes it prompts, by the way, you can give rm-rf also, combination, so that you can remove your files and directories at once. But be cautious, by the way. So the files and directories, um, which the files and directories which are deleted cannot be retrieved back. Okay, so that's where be cautious whenever you are removing files and directories. Just make sure you're doing it consciously. Okay, don't do something. Okay, so you don't remove also is not a problem. Okay, don't get remove and get into the problems. All right, but anyhow, but things are much matured even though you remove it. I mean, the things are designed in such a way that they can't go harm. Okay, that's all different stories, but still be cautious here. So because the deleted can't be recovered. All right, so that is where you can remove the files and directory. Any questions?
Hello.
Yeah. Yes, I'm able to hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I was trying to raise hands on my system, but I think it's not working. Now I logged in into my mobile. I don't know if why this issue. I try to raise hands and ask question, but it's not
It's
showing
your
that.
client issue. That's okay. You can update your latest Zoom client. It
Uh,
should work.
I
Go
just
ahead with your
downloaded
question.
it.
Go ahead with your
Okay.
question.
Yeah, my question was, I think it's already been passed. I was trying to ask you, it's regarding the home directory, right? Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
you have like /home and /ect user, right? So
Right.
/home is the home directory, and then EC2 user is like the sub directory in that, or like the whole
Right.
is the home directory. Yeah.
Now, this is your home directory, but whereas this is your system directory. Okay.
Okay. So we can have
EC2 is
multiple
your
users.
home directory, but the full path is given to this. Even in Windows also it is same, right? Your home directory is a C drive users. Okay. So where I have shown, yeah. So this is your home directory in your Windows. That means
Okay.
like, users is a system directory. It doesn't belong to you. But inside that, Brink is a folder which is given for him, for the user, by the way, right? This is his home directory. Whereas this is a full path of the directory, full path of the home directory. Here also it is the same thing. It is the full path of the home directory. Okay, but whereas
Uh,
actually talking, this is your directory. This is actually a system directory, which is actually designed for provisioning the home directories for the users. One common location.
right. And we can have like multiple users as well, right? At the same time.
Yeah, yeah. Linux is a multi-user. Linux is a multi-user, multi-session operating system.
Okay.
So you can have multiple users. Windows is a multi-user, single-session operating system. I think we'll talk about this a bit later. But yeah, since the point came, so Windows is a multi-user it support, but single-session only it will support for a user. But Linux is multi-user plus for each user it supports multiple sessions as well. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, all right, moving on. Now the next is how do you copy some files and directories? In Windows, maybe you will do right-click copy, okay, and you do right-click paste, right? So, but in Linux, you have to execute a command to do that. So that's where you just need to give a cp command and your source file name and the destination file name. So now cp nodes.txt, which is as node.txt, for an example. Now the file nodes.txt has been copied to node.txt. So if you're actually wanted to copy to some other directory, let's say mkdir demo, okay, if you want to copy the directory into a directory, so cp nodes.txt as demo/node.txt. Okay, you give the path of the folder and then slash the file name, it will copy into that folder. So now ls, you go inside cd demo ls, you can see that file, which is node.txt. Or you know, to really do a CD also, ls can directly, if you want to just see the files, you can still give ls and then give the folder name. It can still show you the list of files also in that. So every time you really no need to do a CD also sometimes, like is this the case? ls and that particular one, it is showing the file name. Right. So this is how you can copy certain files, by the way. Now the same cp command can be used to copy the directory also. Now let's say cp demo and I'm giving capital demo, let's say. Okay, it is telling omitting because it's a directory. Okay, so here I will say ls, sorry, the same cp command, but I'm going to use an option for rm command. Also use this -r option. So what happens? It will copy or it will remove the folder, right? So rm. So the same here, cp-r. -r stands for recursive. Okay, it's basically like recursive means all the files and folders inside that also. Okay, so ls, now you can see this capital demo. All the files inside the demo also will be copied in the, it's a Windows only, right? Like click folder, you purge the folder somewhere, you get all the files in the folder. It is also the same thing. So you get all the files of that folder here. Okay. So this is how I can do a copy. And one more thing that we have is how do you move your files, cut paste? Okay, how do you move the files from one place to another place? Okay, that's where mv command will come into picture. So mv nodes.txt, let's say you're moving to demo location, okay, demo folder. So ls, so now nodes.txt is no more, you're seeing it. If I give ls demo, then it actually moved inside the directory. I just gave the folder name, that's it. So it just moved inside that. Or else if you are giving something like, let's say mv node.txt, okay, so let's say new.txt I'm giving. Okay, now what I'm doing here is, now I'm not actually cutting and pasting. In fact, I'm doing a renaming, by the way. Okay, so mv command will do two operations. With a little practice, you will understand this, but it is doing technically two operations. One is cutting and pasting the file on another, okay, on another place. Okay, or else it is actually also allowing you to do the rename. But actually, those we consider as a two operations in Windows. In fact, actually, if you go and look in the hard disk, you open the hard disk, but both the operations will do the same thing. Move is really you're not moving anywhere. Okay, move means you will not move anything anywhere. Okay, so because it just, I think we have a few minutes, just spend some time also just for you to understand. So I'll just take a whiteboard. For an example, whenever you take let's say your pen drive, your pen drive is 4 GB of pen drive, you will never get 4 GB, you may get 3.8, 3.9 GB, right? So that means whenever you create any file system, okay, so you certain percentage will go for metadata. Okay, so this will go for metadata. Now this metadata is the one information about. So I mean, if let's say you're trying to create a file, so it will create a record that, okay, so and so file, and it has some metadata that, this file is available in this sector, in this location, something like that. It will have a reference information. Okay, it will have a reference information about this. Now, and also the name of the file also is stored in the metadata here. Okay. Now, when you do a rename, okay, the content is not changing anything unless you're actually copying from this pen drive to another pen drive. There is no operation comes into picture. If you're completely copying to some other some other hard disk or some other device, by the way, then only it comes as a cut paste. Okay, so that means it will delete here after the copy. That's it. But if you are doing on the same thing, so it's actually really no need to do anything. It will just go there and it will update an operation, or it update its metadata saying that it will update its metadata saying that, okay, this file name has been modified. It actually really not done anything. And the location where it needs to be referred also it will update the location where it need to be referred, by the way. That's it. Okay, its path and all, it is changing. Nothing it is doing more. If we are just doing a rename on the same location, it will just need to update the file name of the file in the metadata. It's actually no disk operation that you need to understand. It's just only a metadata operation on the hard disk, right? So that's where even your copy of, let's say, 100 GB you're copying, your copy may take 10 minutes. Let's say when you actually try to do a removal of that folder, it may take a minute only, if you have observed or not. Okay, because it is just doing the metadata operation only. It is just cleaning all the entries of your 100 GB saying that these are all free. Actually, it is not going to do any disk operation. It will not really delete your things on your disk. Okay. So your hard disk is going to still have the data later whenever you are doing further operations. So since those marked as empty, empty blocks, it will simply go on to overwrite that. That's it. Okay. Until then, the disk is there. So that's where all this, data retrieval and all will come into picture, like data retrieval business. Okay. So yeah, but otherwise, this is what is the context, right? So MV is literally not doing anything. It is just actually updating the metadata of where this file and folder should be. Okay. So here, that's where in the Linux, by the way, so you will see single command only. Cut paste is generally not, cut paste is not a separate command. It is designed. It is still same. So whether you do a rename, whether you do the, rename or move the file completely to another location. Okay. So technically behind the scene, it is same operation happening. And that is the reason maybe, so they did not came up with a separate option of cut paste. Windows also same thing, but just as a UI perspective, I think they went that way. Okay, so that's fine. So that's about how do you copy your file from one, in the same place or to some other place, okay, some other directory. So it need not to be the directory which we created. If you have permission, you can go ahead and create in some other places as well in the operating system as per the need of the project. By the way, as of now, you're just learning the basics. There is no project needs. Later, project needs will come into picture. Project will tell that, I need this so-and-so file and something like that. Then you'll think about, okay, where to create, where to, what to keep, and all those particular things comes into picture. But for now, you're just having a basics and understanding only. Okay. So that's where it comes to the end of CP command and MV command options. Any questions? Okay, so let's move on. So the next one, which we have is, how do you see a file content? There is a file and I want to see some content inside it. Then how do I see that? Okay. So far, maybe you created an empty files, right? So, but we didn't deal with the content. Now we are going to start dealing with the content. Now there's a cat command, which is going to help you. And you're going to use a file name, by the way. So it is going to be password. Okay. So one system file I have picked, it doesn't need to be that file only. It can be any file. So this very English, semi-English information here, you will easily understand. So some files you may not really understand the information. Okay. So that's the only reason. All right. So just cat/etc passwords or yeah, any file, it's okay. So cat/etc maybe like other files. Sorry. Let's say there is a file profile. Okay, enter. So you can see many things. By the way, this is a little syntactual. Okay, that's the reason. Any file you can cat it, doesn't matter. So I just took the etc password. It's some words are easy for at least the content to refer. So cat command is just to see the content. If you give one file or multiple files, it will show the content. Okay, so now I have another file also. Let's say 2 files I want to view. I can do that. The first file, after that, second file will come. Just showing the content of the file. Okay, all right. Then the next is if you want to display the line numbers also along with that. So cat -n/etc password. If you want to see along with the line numbers, so that you know which line number what and all, this may be helpful. Okay. All right. Cat command, very small command. It will do the job. Some people refer the files in a reverse format. That means last line should come first. Top line should go ending. Simply the reverse, flip the file order. Okay. There's a tag command, reverse of cat only. Just then etc password. It just printed the things in reverse. Previously, easy to user is the last line. Now easy to user is the first line. And root was the first line. Now root becomes a last. Yes, there is a reversible command also is there. Some people, I think I wanted to see, okay, last content at the starting, something. Okay. Not a big deal. All right. So the next is how can you limit the content that you're seeing? Now, let's say this cat is actually showing the file, but that file is having, let's say, hundreds and thousands of lines. Your screen will be bombarded. So now if you wanted to just avoid that and you wanted to limit the content, by the way, right? So that's where some limiting output will come into picture. Can be done by 2 commands, head and tail commands. Now head of /etc password is going to give you a head and tail. Okay, head of the file. That means top of the file. So it will give you the first 10 lines of the file, and you can customize the number. Let's say I want only 3 lines, then -n 3 I'll tell. Okay, I want only the 3 lines, top 3 lines of a file. Okay. And the next is tail command. Tail is actually going to give you the last 10 lines, whereas the tail -2 is there. It is going to give you the last 2 lines. Okay. So that is how we are going to. And the next is if you want to search within the files, like, I don't want the line number based search, whereas I am looking for a word and I wanted to search that particular word. Okay. So then grep a word from that file, which is etc password. You can see that you're getting only the lines where you have you are getting the lines where you have a word, a root, and you are getting those lines. So grab root from /etc. Okay. So that's about this one. And last command on the filter perspective, which for today is the AWK command. So that if I have any questions, I'll take. Okay. So now there is a column-based filtering. So if you have observed so far, the line number-based filterings are have came in this format, line numbers, right? And even if you search a word also, it prints the whole line, right? But you need to go for a column-based filtering. So I want this column to be printed. Okay. Now, one of the powerful command you have there is AWK command that can do the job. And AWK, okay, you're going to give the field separator, okay, and you're going to choose which column you're looking for. First column means $1, second column means $2, or else you want two columns, $1, $3, and you can do that. So let me go and do that. So AWK. So I'm taking the same etc password file because it has columns as well. -f, okay, a colon, because etc password is always each word to word, there's always a colon character. Maybe there is a CSV file, you have a comma separated file, then it is going to be comma, you give -f comma, okay, and then -f this one, I'll go for print $1 of etc password. Okay. All right. So this is where you can do the things. If you want multiple, you can give $, let's say 7 I want. I'll get this. All right. So this is how we are going to do the filtering. This is a filter command. So just to revise, so today we talked about how do we, navigate from one location to another location, and then we talked about how do we create some files and directories, and after that we talked about how do you remove them, copy them, and rename them, move them as well, and also how do you view the content on an existing file. Okay. So tomorrow, I think we'll can start with, how do we create our own content in the file? Like, let's say I wanted to create a file with some content. How can I do that? So that particular one, we start with the editor, interactive editor and command line editor both, and then we'll move on to the other commands. Yeah. So that's all from my side for today. Any questions?
Yeah, so in the AWK command, right, I see there's a curly braces for print, to print the stuff. So is this something, if we have any syntax to print, and same will be going forward will be used in Linux commands? What does
That
it
is the
have?
syntax.
Okay.
This itself is a syntax. You are telling,
Oh.
I want to print. Which one you want to print? First column and second column. The column is the column number is given as $. If you don't give $, it will just print 1 and 2 only as a string.
Okay.
Okay, that is the syntax. So 1 and
And
7
the,
only it will print.
and the quotes, that's a single quote, right?
Single quote, yeah. You can go for double quote also, but yeah, go for single quote for AWK command. It means something. Okay, so we'll understand that in scripting. What is the difference between single quote and double quote? But at least for AWK command, go for single quote. If you give double quote, it won't come as expected. So it will just come empty if I'm not wrong. Because if you don't give that, something else, it's not even giving, it's error. It won't work. Go for single quote only.
Okay. And a later point of view in the scripts, we will be using some kind of these kind of commands and right, like to print any stuff inside.
The script is all about your requirement from the manual only. So that means here also whatever you're doing, script also does the same thing only.
Okay.
A same AWK command only. If you are actually trying to filter, why you go for AWK command even in the script, by the way? Because I need a column-based filtering. Either it is manual or you give someone, you hand over that command to be executed by someone, which is a script. We'll also do the same thing only, no different.
Okay, maybe I'm too early to ask this. So in case if I have to take a file and then read and prep, all this can be done late, pipelined, right? Later, that can be done. You
Yeah,
will.
pipes will come.
Okay,
Tomorrow mostly, pipe.
Thank you.
Yep. Anyone? Any other questions? All any other challenges on the practice part when you're doing? All good, started. Okay. All right then. So we will meet in tomorrow and we can continue. But if anyone have any questions, any AWS issues or connecting issues to the server, just let me know right away so that I can connect with you right away after this in lab session. Okay, so I'm assuming there are nothing. Cool. So if there is any issues, there's a lab session and there's a timing given there, right? You can join there if you have any questions. Thank you. Bye. Good day. Good night.